You try to love people, but you get rejected. You try to grow, but you stop growing. You almost start contracting. You try to help, but then you destroy things. It's like life is ironic. It's like, where is the God in this life? If you've had these reoccurring thoughts of victimization, like things have hurt you and that hurt is disturbing you, that does not necessarily mean that there isn't a God. And let me explain that. Comprehending spiritual laws help you fathom that even through pain, even through the worst things that can happen, because we've all been through, well, maybe not, some of us have been through some really disastrous lives, and that's actually a blessing in disguise, because once you can bring yourself up from a really pitful circumstance, like you go through something and it's so difficult, and the first thing that you want to do is just stop. Just stop thinking, stop doing this, stop doing that. That's life gaining power over you, and that's ironic because you are life. If more people fathomed spiritual law, this world would be a magical, mystical, dangerous, beautiful, loving place. It would be so intense. Life would be so chaotic, but yet synchronized. It would look chaotic in the external world, but because everyone is in this mutual understanding that we are spiritual beings experiencing a sentient perspective, once everyone can fathom that, that's when there can't be any lies, there can't be any harm. Like, that is when the universal mind, or the mind of the earth, is vibrating at such a way that it's like it's heaven. But then that's the thing that spiritual people can fall into as well, thinking that life right now isn't the way it's meant to be. Yeah, because this brings me on to one of the principle of non-resistance. When you resist things in your life, you tend to embody them more. And what do I mean by that? If negative things come to you, if things that you're not proud of, typically from your shadow, like the things that you don't like to embody, once they come up and they arise, and you start resisting in terms of saying, that's not me, I'm not accepting that, no, that thought will carry on reoccurring in your mind. But if you were to accept that firstly, like, yeah man, bring in the law of forgiveness or the cancellation law. This is another principle, a spiritual principle. If you forgive yourself despite of whatever's happened, let go of that thought. Well, you can't just let go of it, you have to like process it basically. You have to accept it, realize that you don't want to embody this, figure out why this is coming up in the first place, and try to find ways of dealing with that. It's the people that comprehend their emotions more that have a deeper connection with what is, because I think it's a higher form of overstanding something. Like, there's the logical mind, which loves to judge, criticize, analyze, and then there's the feelings, which loves to describe things in metaphorical, loose ways, and it's your mind's job to try to make sense of the feeling. finding harmony with you, like accepting every single thing that comes into your mind and not letting it like change your emotions for, well, no, not letting it take over your emotions, not letting it control you. Because you're a spiritual being experiencing this three-dimensional reality. And the more that things can move you, the more that thing has power over you, or like the more that thing is connected to you. And if you're resonating with this message, you're probably someone that's into their spirituality. And the people that are more typically into their spirituality have a sensitive nervous system. So they can see things a bit more clearly. Like, that's a blessing in disguise also. Like, to deny that about yourself is to also live in harmony. You're not using the law of non-resistance very well. I guess I'm making this video to the people that want to comprehend spiritual laws, that resonate with the whole idea that like reality is a game. You can express yourself authentically, and the people that want to investigate the interconnectiveness between microcosm and macrocosm, the inside, the outside, the small and the big, the soul and the mind, the people that have comprehended the duality of life. That's another principle. Things usually work in duos, and to see things from two different perspectives is a more accurate way of depicting something. Like, that's also comprehending. These laws are found everywhere. These laws are found within religions. These laws are found within science. These laws are found within physics, relationships. These laws are what interconnects our souls to this experience. And fundamentally, like, if you were to grasp these principles perfectly, you would be embodying God in a way that is like your ego, your mind is molded in a way where it can let God flow through it with no resistance. You're like water. That's why the Chinese think that water is the least resistive element. Like, it embodies non-resistance the best. Like, be like water, as Bruce Lee says. And you see all these people, like, they're talking all these lovey-dovey, woo-hooey, feely-feely, and you can't resonate with that almost at a certain point. Like, it's this feeling that you can feel, and it's just there at the tip of your tongue, but your mind can't put the language to describe it. That's you not having control over your mind. That's not you. That's you seeing your mind in a way that doesn't benefit you. So there's a perspective that you can look at. So a way of seeing your mind that benefits you the most, that coincides with spiritual law, that helps you control reality in a way that you didn't deem possible in the past. And I'm making this to just concrete some of these ideas for the people. If you're resonating with some of these ideas, then start to study spiritual law in whatever way you'd like. There's practitioners of Islam that have found out and embodied spiritual law in a way that's beautiful. Same with Christianity, same with Buddhism, same with scientists that like to study the principles behind and study the logic behind how to embody this. But if we were to bring all of this together, if we had so many people looking into how the thing is, and we had more people investigating their spirit, their interconnectedness with the everything. But I think that everything already exists, so that information is already out there. Because we're infinite in nature. And I guess this could come from certain people holding information about principles that leave the mainstream view not in line with spirit. And when you're not in line with spirit, that's when chaos happens. That's when hell is going on within and it's consuming your soul. There's things that consume your soul. And learning to be authentic with yourself, to try to find, I guess it's just about curiosity, like the truly curious mind that doesn't let anything move his curiosity will find things that he never thought was possible on his first conviction of being curious. Like, if you hold the idea that you are curious and you begin to investigate things with passion, oh boy, do you learn things. You really do learn things. And I resonate with spiritual law. So if you guys wanna heard about a principle that resonated with you in the context of spirit, that you'd like broken down more or intrigues you more, put it down in the comments. I'm interested to see what the people are saying in the context of this idea, because I'd like to investigate this idea from many perspectives and go down the rabbit hole of finding the most refined principles to help the people become more aligned to spirit. And I think that's, I might be wording it in a way that might seem a bit woo-hooey. So when I'm saying be aligned with spirit, it's being aligned with your higher self, it's being aligned with God. If you believe in a creator, that God created the everything and God isn't the everything, I guess that's the rabbit hole that I don't really resonate with as much, because then that insinuates that the game is a simulation. There is a higher being that has created these dimensions, and we haven't been able to fathom the game from that perspective. But then that takes away power from you being able to do that. Like, if anyone's trying to limit you in any sort of way, you probably shouldn't listen to them. Because most of the time when someone's limiting another person, it's because they themselves felt limited. And if you're a person that does not want to be limited by that idea, and you want to surpass that idea, then you're going to piss that man off. That man is going to be jealous and envious of you. That's why, like, people with big ideas, big thoughts, don't be small. Yeah, like, the whole idea of suppressing yourself is bad for your soul. Authenticity is what grows it. Yeah, like, being real with yourself. I think that's one of the highest frequencies that I've found. Being authentic, being loving, being grateful. These are wonderful things that I like to embody, because it's quite aligned with spirit, it's quite aligned with your soul, it's aligned with God. But then again, don't obsess over anything, because you can be compassionate about something, but once you start needing certain things, that's when it has a counterintuitive effect, because you are placing that power outside of you and not through you. Yeah, that's just a really good way that I like to see it. Yeah, to the curious souls, never stop being curious.